ಸ್ವರ್ಣ ಪದಕ ವಿಜೇತರಿಗೂ ಮತ್ತು ಇತರ ಪ್ರತಿಭಾವಂತರಿಗೂ ನನ್ನ ಅಭಿನಂದನೆಗಳು. It's a matter of great honor and privilege for me to be delivering the convocation address of the 60th convocation of the University of Agricultural Sciences, Bengaluru. The most important reason is I'm a student of this university. Exactly what I was admitted to BSc Agriculture program in this university. I remember coming to here to give my interviews, and I couldn't imagine that 45 years later I would be standing here in front of you to deliver this convocation address. I really be honored and humbled for this invitation and the honor that you people have bestowed on me. Whatever I have achieved in my academic and professional life, I owe largely to this university, particularly the curriculum, the education and the value system that I received from this university. Undergraduate curriculum of agriculture universities, particularly US Bangalore where I studied, has actually nurtured scientific temper, analytical thinking and social responsibility. It encourages students to understand not only the science of agriculture, but also the history and philosophy of science and the larger societal role of scientific inquiry. In fact, when I was involved in very different levels of the discussion on your framing NEP 2020, I remember mentioning at least 2 occasions that instead of looking for role models elsewhere in the world, just please look at the curriculum of agriculture universities of this country, and they are the ones which really provide liberal arts and open education and help students to pursue what they are interested in. They may become administrators, they may become entrepreneurs, they may become fantastic scientists, researchers and teachers of this in this country, but the university curriculum and syllabi and the teaching methodology and the research integrated undergraduate program will definitely help them to pursue their career much more fruitfully. In fact, the 3 of the doctorate awardees today, they all have been alumni of this university and they have excelled based on the education that they received and supported the farmers and the economic growth of this country. Situated within the Gandhi Krishi Vigyana Kendra, this university has since its inception reflected the ethical and social ideals of Mahatma Gandhi, who once said, I quote, "To forget how to dig the earth and tend the soil is to forget ourselves," unquote. It is encouraging to see the University of Agricultural Sciences, Bengaluru, being conscious of his advice and warning in case of something goes wrong, committed to rural development, sustainable agriculture, circular economy, soil health, and organic and natural farming. I congratulate you, Vice Chancellor, and all the staff and faculty and the students for pursuing the ultimate goal of providing social justice through agriculture research in this country. As I deliver a commencement address on the occasion of such as this, I'm expected to speak to the students about the future that lies ahead. In today's rapidly changing world, however, the future is more uncertain, unpredictable than ever before. Yet, since the change is the only constant, learning to navigate the unknown has become an essential part of our life. So, as you walk out in this institution, today with smiles of satisfaction and happiness, carrying your degree certificate in hand, you're also stepping into an unfamiliar world. It's a world filled with both opportunities and challenges. It will test your creativity, innovative thinking, resilience, and ability to adapt to ever-changing circumstances. There is no reason for despair. Unknown world, it is not something is going to be a challenge because the education that you have received has prepared you for this. You possess a vast reservoir of scientific knowledge generated over the past several centuries that can help us overcome the challenges before us. Although agriculture has been practiced for nearly 10,000 years, much of its progress historically relied on intuition and trial and error approaches. Modern science, however, has enabled to understand our living and non-living environment far more deeply, often revealing realities that are counterintuitive. I'm sure all of you know, the students of science, that how the scientific methods have helped us to understand the world which is beyond our human perception. the certain kinds of microbial world, or what is beyond the galaxies and the stars, or what is, for example, DNA, the molecular basis of life. All of these have been counterintuitive, not been able to understand without using the scientific methods. Modern science, however, is enabled to understand our living and non-living environments far more deeply, often revealing realities that are counterintuitive. More importantly, now we have much clearer mechanistic understanding of biological processes such as heredity, evolution, biochemistry, physiology, and aging. And at the same time, scientific tools developed over the past 2 decades, particularly in the last 2 decades, are transforming both discovery science and the development of practical solutions to farmers. These advances have the potential to once again make agriculture a major driver of national growth, food security, and economic prosperity. 50 years ago, when we were students of agriculture, agriculture was supposed to be the major source of income, not only for individual farmers and the people, and also for the whole country. Perhaps now, many other industrial sectors have overtaken, but agriculture is still the main source of, the survival, but not only for 1.5 billion of this country, but many other needy countries for whom we not only export the food, very often we also donate food from this country. 75 or 80 years ago, we couldn't have imagined that we would be in a position where we would be donating and exporting the food. And all of this is because of the modern research in agricultural sciences, and which has helped us to become not only self-sufficiency in food, and also prosperity based on the food self-sufficiency. This prosperity should further, so that not only the food security, our national security should depend on how well we conduct, how well we do our agriculture. Going forward, we need disruptive innovations and out-of-the-box thinking, the judicious integration of genomics, gene editing, quantum technologies, artificial intelligence, and other emerging tools into agriculture research. At the same time, we must rediscover, we should not forget what has already happened in the past. We should rediscover and reinvent traditional agricultural practices which are much more sustainable, but we have to make them economically more viable, resilient and sustainable for the future, given the kind of climate change and other impact that we are facing today. Let me share 2 recent success stories which I have witnessed from close quarters as I was conducting my own research in Hyderabad. One is the story of how the modern improvised Samba Masuri rice was developed. This variety now is being grown more than 100,000 hectares in Andhra and Tamil Nadu, particularly in the coastal Andhra. And this is based on the basic science of how pathogen Xanthomonas would infect rice and cause leaf blight diseases, which is one of the major problems the farmers are facing at that time. And understanding at the molecular level and integrating very different resistant genes into one variety, the scientists of CCMA and also National Rice Research Directorate, they developed this new variety which has now solved many problems of the farmers and increased their income. Another is even more interesting is when India grows basmati, I'm sure all of you know Garhwal basmati rice has achieved a tag. And this basmati rice, when we are exporting, often is also adulterated for whatever reasons. And many importers of basmati rice, they actually stopped importing, saying that the basmati that is coming to us, it is actually adulterated. At that time, Agriculture Product Export Authority of India, APIDA, they had approached CDFA, Center for DNA Fingerprinting and Diagnostics, and asked us, is there a way you can tell us how to showcase our pure basmati rice to the importers of outside world, particularly Europe, and say that this is a pure basmati and it is stamped with the help of modern technology like DNA fingerprinting. Such technology was developed in shortest time possible, within 3 years, and a lab was set up in Dehradun so that all the basmati rice that is going from to the outside the country are properly tested and validated with the help of the utmost technology, which is basically molecular barcoding. And this has enabled not only to resume the export of basmati rice to European countries, has also increased at least 30% the export of basmati rice, adding more income not only to the farmers and also the national economy. Both these innovations illustrate how investment in modern science can safeguard the livelihoods of lakhs of farmers while substantially enhancing their incomes. The National Center for Biological Sciences, which I'm the director, which is located right here at the GKVK campus, and we are really related to the support that GKVK is providing us. Is working closely with this university to develop advanced technology for climate resilient agriculture. Our collaborative efforts should include long-term monitoring of agricultural lands, understanding the changes in soil and ecosystem health, and studying the ecological impacts of climate change. Such interdisciplinary partnerships will play an increasingly critical role in addressing the agricultural challenges of the future. Once again, I thank the university for giving this privilege of sharing this important occasion with you. To all the graduating students, I extend my warmest wishes for a meaningful, successful, and socially responsible future. Thank you, and my best wishes to all.
ಇದೀಗ ಕುಲಪತಿ